You want to support Roland Martin Unfiltered? Be sure to join our Bring the Funk fan club. Every dollar that you give to us supports our daily digital show. There's only one daily digital show out here that keeps it black and keep it real. It's Roland Martin Unfiltered. By going to RolandMartinUnfiltered.com, you can make this possible. I interviewed Anthony Anderson and Chris Singleton about their Netflix movie Beats, which is a very interesting story about a young musical genius in Chicago, but who is dealing with PTSD from the gun trauma there, and a man who made mistakes in his past is now a school security guard, how he, of course, is trying to help this young man. I sat down with the both of them, talked about this film, and just letting y'all, I'm just warning y'all right now, Anthony Anderson, being Anthony Anderson, let's just say you might hear a few MFs in this conversation. All right, folks, we're going to play this. I'm going to say bye now, but you're going to watch the rest of this. I'm going to see you guys Monday right here, Roland Martin Unfiltered. Here's my conversation with Anthony Anderson and Chris Singleton from the 23rd Annual American Black Film Festival. Is this a flashback? Is this your personal sequel to Hustle and Flow?
No, it's not. It's an ode to Hustle and Flow in a way that this story is a combination of Goodwill Hunting and Hustle and Flow. Man, nice little coming of age story. So I'm happy to be here with my brother Chris Robinson, directing us and directing the great piece.
Chris is set in Chicago, rich music scene. And so what did you want to bring out, the flavor of Chicago? Because we're talking about not just hip-hop. We're talking about, we can go back to blues. We can go back to Chess Records. We can go back to a whole lot of artists that have come out of the Windy City.
Listen, from Common to Buddy Guy, we wanted to be authentic. Like you said, it's a rich history in Chicago. And that's the big point for us in making film, is that it's always authentic. When you're in it, you want to feel the city, from the way the dog sounds down the street that's different, from the way the alleys feel and sound. Just sonically, this film is a sonic film in many ways. So what we really just wanted to bring across was authenticity.
Now, in this, you a janitor? What are you? Something like that?
Obviously, you haven't seen the film, bro.
No, because I had to go to the premiere tonight to see the film.
Why did all the other journalists who came in here before you see the film, Roland?
Because they ain't me.
Obviously. No.
What do you play?
I'm not a janitor, okay? I'm a high school security guard.
Oh, hell, that's the same thing. Because at a black high school, the security guard was a damn janitor.
He was everything. He was the therapist. He was the janitor. He was the mechanic. He was the shop teacher. He was assistant principal. But no, my character Romello, had a fall from grace from the music industry, and he finds himself basically a rent-a-cop, a school security guard, trying to get these kids back in school, and I come across this young talented kid who's now being homeschooled because of some things that happened to his family in the street, and anxiety and PTSD, and I see a chance to get my life back musically and to give him a new life in the process, without really screwing him over. Yeah, but I do so in the end. But I have some redemptive qualities.
Right? Yeah, that's totally fictitious right there. That's totally fictional. Chris, when you talk about how do you separate for the audience? How do you try to create a different vision for the audience who sees Anthony as a father on Blackish, but you have to create something different? You got to show them something different when it comes to a movie. How do you approach that, knowing full well it's a show that's still going on, and so people go, wait a minute, hold up, that's the dude from Blackish?
Well, I think it's all in his performance. I think, what he is. He represents us in the culture in many ways, right? He's a, when you see him, you feel good about yourself. You see him as a father on Blackish. You see him as a host at award shows. So we know there's a certain quality in what he represents in us. So the challenge is, coming into this role, is how does the audience see him? But when you have an actor who has chops this way, when he becomes this character, and he leaves you know, he looks like he looks, right? But he leaves that character behind and he becomes Romello. I think that the audience just sinks into it, and before you know it, you forget, you know, that he plays another role. And that's what this brother has, is he's just a great actor.
So I appreciate all of that. So tell me about Anthony.
See, Roland, if you had seen the film, Roland, that wouldn't have been a question that you would be asking right now.
Actually, with those of us who know how to ask questions, that is why you ask that question, to elicit that response from the director. That's why you actually do it. So if you can stay your ass in your lane, and then I'll stay in mine. This is what I do. This is what you do.
When's the last time you've been called a motherfucker on your show, Roland?
The last fucking time I interviewed you.
Oh, well.
At your golf tournament. The last time.
That was just 3 weeks ago.
Yes. And since I barred the N-word, he really want to call me that. And then he used the coon word. I said, I don't allow coon either. He was like, well, how's motherfucker? I'm like, that's allowed. Okay, motherfucker. See, that's what happens.
Right. I love you, brother.
This is how every interview goes. And luckily, since
is that why I never see myself on your network?
No. You always on. And luckily, my show is called Roland Martin Unfiltered. I own it. We stream it. So he's so happy he can actually cuss without being bleeped.
Hey, remember that time I cussed out the Reverend? Wasn't he a Reverend? I was in the studio in D.C. You guys were in New York because you had to do something at the White House.
Yes.
And that man,
yes, he was really extra.
I can't remember what I said, but I basically cussed out a pastor on Roland's show.
This is me. Pastor, I'm sorry.
Pastor, I'm sorry. God know where my heart is.
No, God knew you a heathen. So God's like, you lying right now. So how did you have to deal with that? Because you're trying to do this serious movie, but you have to deal with all of that.
Listen, when you come to play in the big leagues, you got to be ready to play in the big leagues. This is, you know, a perennial all-star in the big leagues. So you can't be a wilting flower when you come to set and you guys are making it work. Because listen, as hard as we work to make something authentic, it's not always great days. It's not always that everything is beautiful, but you meet the challenge, and our goal is the same. Our goal is to create something that is authentic, and the only reason to do this work, you know, this is a labor of love. You know, it's not, you know, we didn't go do a Marvel movie and make, you know, millions of dollars. What we did was something for our culture, something that we loved, and something that resonated with us personally.
And last question for you, is this for all the rent-a-cops out there?
Uh-huh. What about it? Okay, power to the people, for all the high school security guards out there that's representing.
So do you now treat security guards better?
I've always treated top flight security good, man.
Because you were once in a previous movie.
Yes, I was. Big Mama's House, I believe. Yeah.
That's when you were Big Anthony.
Do you like Big Anthony or Small Anthony?
We all like Big Anthony.
Okay, well.
Big Anthony was funnier.
This interview's over. My comedy has never been predicated upon my weight.
I told you, it's like Luther, Big Luther, Little Luther.
I like healthy Anthony.
Unfunny, healthy Anthony. That's what.
Shit. I wish type 2 diabetes on you. I wish it on you.
See, right there.
I wish the sugar's on you.
And he was just talking about God. See, right there, he was acting. Good luck with the film, guys.
All right, folks, back to that Roland Martin Unfiltered video in just 1 month.
All right, folks, they're back. MarijuanaStock.org has another great investment opportunity. If you were lucky enough to invest in their last crowdfunding campaign, you know they raised a lot of money in just a few months investing in legal marijuana farms. Those initial investors now own shares of a publicly traded company. And, of course, they're excited by that. Now they have a new investment opportunity that is as good, if not better, than the last. I'm talking about industrial hemp CBD. For those who don't know, the hemp plant is a cousin to marijuana, of course, and then it has a higher concentration of CBD, which means hemp CBD gives you all of the medical benefits of marijuana without getting you high. Now, until recently, hemp farming was practically illegal in the U.S. and heavily regulated by the DEA. However, that changed with the 2018 Farm Bill, making it legal to grow hemp CBD in the U.S. and creating one of the largest commodities worldwide. They need land to grow all of the plants, and this makes for an incredible investment opportunity. That's where our good friends at 420 Real Estate come in. Their business model is simple. They buy land that supports hemp CBD grow operations and lease it to licensed, high-paying tenants. That's right, they are hemp CBD landlords, and you can get in on the action. You can invest in this crowdfunding campaign for as little as $200 up to $10,000. All right, folks, all you got to do is go to marijuanastock.org. That's marijuanastock.org if you want to get in the game. And if you do so, do it now.
Now back to your Roland Martin Unfiltered video.